Hi, welcome back to another episode in my channel. Time to make some nice atta flour chapatis. Now I do have a chapati recipe on my channel already, but I think I used white flour and it was nearly 2 years ago now. So here we go. I'm using aluminium karahai here, no particular reason. A nice 10 kilo bag of medium atta flour. And all atta flour is, it's flour that's been ground or milled with some of the husk still left on the grain for fibre. So I'm adding a little bit of water. I'm not using any ratios. The main thing is, no matter what ratio of or how much flour you use the correct amount of water to make a soft dough. So what I do, I use a spoon just to get it nearly into one piece. And once that happens, then I go with the hands. We might need to add a little bit of flour if it's a little bit sticky, and I'll just work away. And I'll be adding a little bit more flour to that, and I'll be kneading it for 2 minutes until we have a nice dough ball. So after about 1.5 minutes of kneading, you don't want to knead it too much, we have quite a soft ball of dough. And all I'm going to do is cover it with some flour, and I'm going to put a cloth on that, and I'm going to leave it rest for about 40 minutes. And the general rule of thumb when you're letting your dough rest, that's the trick to a nice good chapati that's going to puff up. The coarser the grain, the longer you leave it. So if you're using white flour, you might only need to rest it for 10, 15, 20 minutes. With this, because it's a medium, I'm going to leave it for a good half an hour and we'll come back. And why it's important, I like to explain the processes and not just dictate this is how it should be done, because there are so many ways to do this. What the resting period does, it lets the water that we've put into the flour absorb completely right throughout evenly, and that's how we're going to get a good chapati when we come to cook it. So I'm going to put a cloth over that, sort of keep it airtight. You don't want the edges to dry out or anything like that, and we're going to come back shortly. So about 45 minutes later, very soft. See how that's changed its consistency? It's really soft. Now we don't knead it again. I just form it back into a ball, and then I make a long sausage shape with it. Dip it in a little bit of flour, and we want lemon size balls, so we're going to get about 4 with the quantity that we've used. And all I do then is between my palms I make it nice and squishy again, and then I form it into nice round circles. We're going to do the same with the other 3. I put a little bit of flour on it, and I'm going to let that rest again for 5 to 10 minutes with a cloth over once again. I'll talk a little bit of chit chat while I do that. So what are the benefits of chapatis? Most people go for naan bread. So if you're eating curry every day and you're eating naan bread every day, unless your metabolism's really quick, you'll probably end up bloating your waistline. Naan bread's 500 calories. A chapati this size will be 100 calories. And it's so cheap and easy to make at home, and it's fun, and you can come up with a really delicious, authentic chapati in no time. The resting period's the only pain, if you like. So I don't use oil in my recipe, I don't use salt. I'm going to be using or eating these chapatis along with a curry that'll have oil and salt in. So I'm not going to double up on the oil. It's all about being healthy. By all means add any salt, that's just for taste, and oil, I don't know why anybody adds oil. And these are nice soft balls. I'm going to cover them. And if you wanted to make puri, for example, or batara, slightly different method, and you'd want a more stiffer dough, more solid, less water, and these are really nice and soft. So let's cover that up. So I've just uncovered these balls and they've been resting now for about 7 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes, it really doesn't matter. And what I do, we find in the West, we dust off all our surfaces, but in Asia they'll use a little pot of flour, and I'm also just briefly dust the rolling pin, make sure my surface isn't wet, and then I'll form into a round shape to get the shape going. It'll be easier to roll. So the trick to rolling a chapati is that it should be perfectly even right throughout. That's how you get equal heat distribution or even heat distribution when you're cooking them on the tava. And you can see the bubbling starting already. That's because we've rested it. It's always a really good sign. So just going to make a nice round shape. Once you've been doing these years, like I've seen some people, they can get this shape so much easier than I can. So we'll come back when that's nice and round and we'll heat our tava up. So you want your chapatis about 2 to 3 millimeters in thickness and nice and even. And the word chapati actually means to slap, because the motion of slapping them all out, I don't do that too much unless there's that excess flour that you need to get rid of because it'll burn on the high temperature of the tava. So there's a little bit of trivia for you. So let's heat our tava. So we've heated our tava up on a nice big flame, and all we do is flick some water on. If it instantly evaporates or steams off, we know our tava's hot enough. So let's start cooking. Shall I do this in real time? Why not? Shouldn't take long. So you can see the dark bits are still where the moisture is, and around the sides it's looking a little bit lighter where it's drying out. We've got some bubbling, and it's good to change the position. Make sure you get an even distribution of heat. Turn it up any higher, and I always find, I'm going to be honest, you make a load of chapatis, usually the first one you make isn't great. Either it cooks too quickly, or it burns, or it doesn't rise. So the more you cook this, a little bit of practice, you can perfect this in no time. It's child's play besides the dangerous heat. So usually the first one goes wrong. But I've been doing this quite a while, but just do be warned. Try the recipe and you'll say, oh, this isn't exactly how it was on the video, but look, you see that rise, and what it is, it's the water turning to steam, but because it's exactly equally all the same thickness right throughout, there's nowhere for that steam to escape, and that's why you get this whoopee cushion effect. And I just think it's fantastic. When I learned to do these many years ago now, I just thought, whoa, I'm really onto something here. And then just to finish it off, we have this, I'll show you this little contraption. What I'm going to do, because the other side looked quite, let's do it on the other side. Look at that, perfection, yeah? Full of fibre, vitamins, much better than naan bread, guys, and so much easier to make as well. A little bit on the side, and do be careful, because it's technically a whoopee cushion filled with very hot air. You squash that, the air will come out, and it's really, really hot. So there we have it. Perfect chapati, I do say so myself. So, thanks for watching. Feel free to like, share and subscribe. Plenty of really gourmet videos coming up very soon, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks.